When it comes to gear in this game, we're actually pretty spoiled for choice. A lot of good options. Very few things in this game don't really have a place, don't get used. Kind of like the stab vest here, right? This thing is so bad that you should never run it, basically. No armor, nothing, just a few extra slots. The new 9-bang grenades are almost on the level of worthless that the stab vest is on, but let's be honest, nothing will dethrone the stab vest in terms of uselessness. There's nothing else that is worse than that. But the 9-bangs are pretty close. It is meant to be used like kind of a side grade to a flashbang, a normal one, where we kind of use this to catch people running away, or if they jump you and you have to throw something fast as a shorter fuse time. But seriously, why not just use the normal flashbangs? They are just so much more consistent. And you would think because the 9-bang goes off 9 times, it would be better, but it just flat out is not as good. So I decided to just run them, see what it's like on Ides of March, right? Not a super hard map, but difficult enough where you have to pay attention, right? And it's nice and close so you can use flashbangs efficiently, right? So the normal one, I had a blast using this one and this one because obviously it works. And it works as intended. It works like you would expect the flashbangs to work. You throw them in, they go off, nobody sees nothing. If you've thrown it right, at least, of course. Now that's a huge part of it is where you throw these things, but the normal ones have such a wide radius that they actually flash. It's just so much of these nerds, okay? So, ideally, you get a bunch of them grouped up and you can just flash like 5 people, right? If you were to try that with the 9-bang, I think you'd have like 2 to 3 seconds of that stun. Whereas these guys, they kind of stay, in stun for a little bit longer. I mean, you've been running flashbangs in this game probably for a while now. As long as you're doing, you know, S ranks especially, these are your go-tos if it's not gas, right? Stingers are not even an option because they can actually, kill the enemies, right? So flashbangs have been the default for a really long time, especially with gas broken. So seeing a new flashbang, you would expect it to actually work, right? And when I switched to it, and I did a little bit, it seemed fine at first, right? Using it like a normal flashbang can be a little weird. Like, right here, I'm always opening with it. And mind you, I'm not even looking at the guy, right? I yell and he drops his gun behind me. I don't know why I've never seen that happen, but that was probably one of the best use cases I've seen for this thing where like it just kind of can work sometimes. It feels like this thing works just differently than the normal flashbang, right? It matters heavily where it is placed above all else because there's not as much of a radius for the blind, right? So you have to be way more precise with your throws if you're using it like a normal flashbang. To be fair, I don't think you should, but that's just me trying to learn how to use this thing. It doesn't feel as good in that scenario, right? As a normal flashbang would do. Like, you can kind of get some of the mileage out of it being kind of similar, but the best thing about it when used like this is the shorter fuse time. Now, what you kind of saw there was the location, like I was mentioning, matters a lot because if anything is in front of the target, between the target and the flashbang, it's just over. It's a wraps. You're not going to get a flash on them. It's just not going to work, right? And I swear this isn't how it works with the normal flashbangs, but I could just be wrong on this. Now, another thing that I noticed was when you get the flashbang, the 9-bang, behind the opponent, the dude will be completely fine. He will see everything, and he will lay you out hard. Look at this shit. I had to fucking slow-mo this shit just to show you what I mean, just in case you missed it. It's completely behind him, which is like, it's fair. It's a flashbang behind the guy. Maybe it shouldn't fucking blind him, but you'd expect a little bit of something from that, right? So immediately you notice that your opponent has to be looking at this thing, no matter what. I swear the normal flashbang works a little differently than that, where you can hit it behind them, and yeah, it'll still flash them. But when you have stuff in between the grenade and the opponent, this makes sense why it doesn't flash them. I'm never gonna, hold that to them. That's my error. That's me fucking up. My mistakes make it to where that thing does not work. But when it's behind the guy and the normal one can do it and this one doesn't, it just doesn't feel good. I value consistency in my tools, my guns, everything in this game, so it makes sense why this just does not sit well in my mind. I want to use this thing more, but the situations that it's useful in are few and far between in this game because honestly I should have chose this map because it's like really small and, tight corridors. But this thing thrives in large areas. I'll show you that a little later. Look at this again. I throw this thing in here, and this guy runs right through the fucking thing. Now, I had to do this again, just to see for sure. It's still technically behind him. He runs in it, looking at me, but it still doesn't blind him. Don't know why, but that's just the reality of it right there. It's something that you're going to have to be aware of if you're going to use these things. And yes, you can live it if they do hit you and whatnot, but let's just be honest, it doesn't feel good to throw the flashbang in deep into a room because you're conditioned to do so. And the guy's right up on the door and he just doesn't get blinded because he's looking at the door, not at that. Stuff like that hurts. It sucks to have that happen, but you can't help these things all the time, man. It's out of your control. So, with that being said, it's kind of up to you if you feel like these are worthwhile or not. I feel like these are a really hard sell for a lot of people. And who can blame them? I mean, we've had the single flashbangs in this game for a while now, and they've been so consistent. The stingers can even do really good, and when gas is working, it is a lot better than this a lot of the time. But, like, that just begs the question is, like, why add these, right? I can't see them being an upgrade in any way, shape, or form. So it's a side grade, something that, it's better in this certain scenario than the normal flashbang would be, but it's not overall better than it, right? That's the only thing I can think of here. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just doesn't always feel good to get stuff like that because, when you get new stuff, kind of feel like it should be better than some of the old stuff, but then people complain about like power creep and stuff, so like, some people say this is a good thing, some not. It's up to you to decide on that. For me, it just feels weird to use this thing whenever we have something that, in my opinion, just does the job far, far better than this. Granted, I'm not the best with the 9 bangs, so that could just be a lot of user error. Could be. Is it? More than likely, yes, because these things at times do feel good. But there are a lot more times for me where they didn't feel good, and that makes me think it's probably just me, which it's good to recognize that kind of stuff. I'm not going to put the entire blame on these things. It's me too. This is a normal flashbang right here. I threw it into the piano, guy behind it doesn't get flashed at all. Makes sense. It was completely contained within the damn thing. So, I'm not like going to freak out on that. But there's a scenario here where I actually felt like the 9 bangs would have done a lot better than the normal flashbangs, because I switched it up again just to feel something after all that absolute dicking that the fucking enemies gave me. So, going back to the normal one, I noticed immediately consistency, like I mentioned, but it just felt better. Okay, immediately felt so much better to use these, chuck it far, and then everybody's flashed. You can actually follow it up. Maybe not everybody's flashed. You can follow it up a lot easier. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just more used to these things. I don't know. I've done a lot with the normal flashbang, so I kind of know what to expect. It's hard to say. Like right there, the 9 bang could have been a little bit better, I think, because of the, shorter fuse time and all that. Maybe it could have helped me in getting that guy down faster. I don't know. At the end of the day, it all ended up fine, right? That's where it's hard to say. Where it's like maybe it would have been better, but overall, it was kind of just a similar experience, right? That is kind of the thing you're gonna notice here is like it's almost like two sides of the same coin kind of vibe, where it's like if you need a lot of area covered in one big bang, obviously you use the normal one. But the nine bangs are good for these giant rooms where you can like throw it in the air and make it have a big arc, right? And it just pops a bunch of times and they get flashed multiple times. That's where I feel like it actually feels good. And that's like the niche of the nine bang, right? In the fucking levels that have that, kind of few and far between. You know, I can think of like Neon Tombs, Dance Floor. I can think of uh one of the new missions, the new bank mission, right? I don't know the name of it. Maybe Lawmaker, the giant mansion. Like you need giant rooms to basically make this work. So me going on Ides of March isn't exactly ideal for this thing, but you know, I didn't know that until way after doing all this. I think the real problem is using these as a solo is not nearly as beneficial as just using normal flashbangs, right? I don't know what it is, but trying to follow up the nine bangs is just a little awkward in comparison to a normal flashbang. I feel like they are a bit more suited for a team to push with them, right? So like you throw them in over everybody's shoulders and above their heads, and as long as they've got the goggles, right, they should be cash money on not getting flashed and stunned, right? Emphasis on should be. You know, even I have that shit on it. It still, you know, sways us and everything, so it's just gonna happen, right? Nine Bang is really good for reacting quickly to some of these guys, I will admit, but I haven't been able to catch someone running away. See, like I could have right there, but I just had an awful throw, right? I haven't been able to really catch them running properly, so I don't really know that side of it. I can't really vouch for that side of this, you know, grenade, but you know, most of the time it will help you if you have like a quick ambush, if you're reactionary with your grenade throws instead of throwing it off a rip. There are a couple of factors that go into like making a play style around these things. I just don't exactly know what it is, how to do it, whatever. So it'll probably come naturally to a lot of people because that's just their play style, right? Reactionary, throwing these things, you know, just catching these guys at the best possible times. Like some people have that like perfect timing down. I do not with these things. I'm not very good with them, and I've acknowledged that, you know, ahead of time. You can probably see what I mean here and there with all of these absolute dog shit throws that I have, which is why, like, a lot of the time it is user error. It's on me. I'm not really going to trip about that. It feels like these things kind of demand, like, a good bit of game knowledge, game sense, like, knowing how enemies are going to react, where they're going to be spawning, what they do when they get hit with these things. Like, there's a lot of this shit in here, okay? To be fair, it could be I'm overthinking it. Not gonna roll that out. But I try to figure out this stuff while using it, and that's probably one of the things I noticed was it just isn't as like noob friendly, let's just say, as some of the other options, right? This thing feels like you actually have to know some things ahead of time, and I could just be wrong about that, but it could just be that much more useful if you did know this kind of stuff prior. Feels like there's so many ridiculous things that have to go right for this to work, like moon and equinox, stars aligning, guy looking at the fucking thing. Just a reasonably dumb amount of things that have to work for you to get this shit to work. It seems that when it really boils down to comparing these two, the flashbang is a good general use grenade, and the nine bangs have their niche that, you know, you kind of have to learn about and then put them into that role for them to fulfill it, right? It's not as easy as just, you know, throw and forget about it. A lot of the time you have to think about this shit, and maybe it'll work. Maybe, alright? It doesn't always, but it will occasionally get the job done. Now, if you're actually going to be using this in more levels than just like one or two, right? Like I mentioned, there's a few where it actually would work a little bit more. This isn't the best example, but you can kind of see what I mean by giant room, throw it up high, let it just fly in through the air in the arch, and it should hit a ton of people, right? This is the most ideal level for this grenade, in my opinion. As you can see, it just covers this entire building, it feels like, right? This is the real strength of this grenade. And honestly, we don't have enough maps that actually take advantage of this grenade, or this grenade can take advantage of its layout, whatever. We don't have enough big zones like this for it to really do its job. So you kind of have to learn how to use it in the small areas and the big areas. It really does feel like you have to learn angles on every map, right, for this thing, where it can be used, where it should be used, where you should never use it. It might be best to mix this grenade in with a few of the other ones rather than just all one type of grenade. Now that is kind of up to you. I prefer to just do one of all type, one type I mean, so like 5 flashbangs or 5 stingers, whatever. I don't really mix them up, you know. I won't switch it up and do like 2 normal bangs and then 3 9 bangs. But that kind of setup might actually benefit you if you're going to be using it on normal levels. Because when the guys rush you, like this guy, you have the 9 bang ready, toss it, he's over, it's done, and then this other guy can get you. But when you need it, a normal flashbang can be thrown further and then hit somebody in this little room, get the whole room. It's kind of up to you on that one. I haven't tried that because, like I said, I do all on one of them rather than, mix match. But finally deciding to use my AI teammates for once. This can kind of show you what I mean. Everybody else is doing the job for you, and you're just flashbanging everything. This is a good strength of it. Honestly, though, is this enough to bring these, though? Like, is that cool enough for you to be like, yeah, this is my sole purpose on the team? I don't know. Granted, a bunch of people can bring these things and we could all throw them, and they'd probably be really strong if more people could throw them on them, but I do a lot of the solo testing. I don't really try to make people bring this kind of stuff as well, so it's just purely from solo perspective, alright? And even with the AI teammates, like, yeah, I can see its strength other than me trying to throw it and yell and fuck up in the middle of it. You can see, though, clear as day, it locks down a room and makes sure nobody shoots at you for however long, right? This is the 9 bang at its best right here. I don't really know where else I could recommend it. It is really good at stopping them from, like, getting the jump on you as well. I do think that is good. My favorite thing about it is really the short fuse time, I'm gonna be honest with you. Other than that, this thing just doesn't stun for as long as I'd hope, and it doesn't feel that good in, like, small areas, right? Hence the niche of it being in this giant ass room and then it dominating it. So, I don't know. That one's kind of up to y'all a little bit too on whether or not you think that's worth it. But to me, it can be. It can be worth it to do that and then just, you know, get further ahead to get stabbed sooner. But for the most part, I'll probably stick to normal flashbangs to just keep things going smoothly, even if it is just like, you know, stock standard at this point. It's there for a reason. It's the tried and true. It's, tested, and it's been proved to be the better options, right? But the 9 bangs are there if you ever feel like, you kind of want a little bit more spice in your life, or if you want to have a grenade that doesn't always work.